in the interactions that you have, in the engagements that you have, the conversations that you have, when you know that vulnerability is going to be present, try your best to also bring leadership to the equation. I can promise you, not only will this help your career as far as the perception that other people will have of you, but it will also help your teams. It will help those around you as well. So that's number one, is identify and remember to bring in that vulnerable leader equation. Second thing is we talked about this concept of the vulnerability mountain. So going one step further, what I always encourage people to do is to identify what's at base camp for you and what's at the peak. What's something that you can do tomorrow that's easy, that's comfortable, something that you can open yourself up and create those relationships with people that's not that hard. So for example, Pennington, she's the CEO of Edward Jones. She told me that vulnerability was very, very uncomfortable for her. And so one of the things that she would do, she called this keeping an ace in her sleeve. She knew that when she would be getting in the elevator with employees, it was very uncomfortable for her to create that connection and that relationship. So she would know in advance, getting into an elevator, what she wanted to talk about. And she would start very small. What did I do over the weekend? Share something a little bit about my family. Okay, have a great day. Just something tiny that she could create a little bit of rapport and a little bit of relationships with people. So again, you can keep that ace in your sleeve and figure out what that's going to be. Plan it a little bit. So identify what's base camp for you and identify what's at the peak. What's the hardest, the scariest thing that you can't imagine doing inside of your organization or connecting with people. Once you know what the base is and once you know what the peak is, the next step is to start climbing that mountain. So do things on a regular basis every day where you take steps to get to that peak. Another thing that's very important, and this is part of a separate framework, I won't go through the whole thing, but I just want to touch on the center part of the framework. It's I call it the vulnerability wheel. And it's a ripple. So you have several concentric circles, but at the center of that concentric circle is the most important thing, and that is intention. It's understanding why. Why is it that you are wanting to be vulnerable? Why are you trying to do or share something that's going to expose yourself to the potential of emotional harm? Is it to just create a bond with somebody? Is it to have a better relationship? Is it to create a culture of innovation? Whatever it is, you have to know what the intention is. Because if you don't, then it just becomes like a group therapy session, which doesn't really make sense inside of an organization. So understand the intention. I think that's a very, very central theme for leading with vulnerability. And again, it could be anything. Like, I want to create that rapport. I want to create that relationship. I want to be able to generate new ideas. I want to be able to drive, again, whatever it is, know what that intention is. I think those are probably some very effective starting points for people to go with.